Thank you and welcome to Ladies of the Paranormal World. Today's episode is Lizzie Borden, innocent or guilty. Today, you speaking with me, Dark Angel. I am your host, my co-host Drusilla, and my step-in co-hosts Wendigo and Skinwalker. We are going to talk about the guilt versus innocence of Izzy Borden and the incredibly haunted house where Izzy Borden is said to have murdered both her parents by smashing in the skull of her father 10 times and her mother 19 times. Now, the song says 40 and 41, but it wasn't that many. That was an exaggerated number. And I'm going to start off with Drusilla. Thoughts before we start?
My thoughts on it. Well, I've read things, I watched things. I even watched that Dead Files because they did
Mm-hmm.
a Lizzie Borden one, and from what I hear, is she snapped basically. Um, Her dad like sexually abusing her. Her mom knew. It just kept going on and going on. From what I understand, is she snapped. If that was
That
the
was also
case,
my understanding.
if that was the case, then you get what you get, right?
Right?
I mean, if you're doing all this bad crap to one person, eventually that person's going to lose it. And if you're in their way, then you're in their way, you
Yeah.
know? And because she stayed home I mean, she was at home. She was an adult still at home. So if
Yep.
this started as childhood, it probably has continued to go into adulthood because she's too scared to say anything. And because her mom is too scared to say anything and not stand up for her, they were.
It was also
It's,
said too
that's
that it
simple.
was possible collaboration between the sisters because Lizzie Borden had a sister, and
Right.
she stood to inherit the entire mansion and all of his uh, assets. Um, so I believe, yes, I believe she snapped, but I think there was also an ulterior motive to get rid of them. I think that she wanted the home to herself. I think that she wanted everything that her father had built over the years, and her stepmother, being who she didn't want her to get it. So I think there was that as well as the conflict of um, the sexual abuse in the home, which has been a rumor. Unfortunately, we're at a time and age now where if we had that kind of DNA collected at that time, we may have been able to prove something of that nature, but we can't prove
Right.
it now. Unfortunately, it's nothing more than speculation. However, the house is said to be
And it could
haunted.
be, like you said, another, she wanted everything. Maybe she felt
Mhm.
because of all the crap, she deserved everything.
Yeah, she deserved it. And her.
But we just don't know because we're not there. Like I said, I watched Dead Files on it, and you know, Amy, is it Amy? Amy is the lady's name. When she was talking, she was like, there was incest, there was
Mhm.
abuse, and that's what she was getting. But you know, when she says, like she says, she talks to them. So she was talking to Lizzie, and that's what Lizzie had said. You know,
Mhm.
that's what it was being told to her. So at the same time, yes, she's getting these people that talking to her, but is it only from her point of view because she's talking to her?
Right, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned that because they say that the house itself is haunted not only by Lizzie Borden, but by the father, the mother, and the possibility of Satan himself. Now, I don't, as well as I do, obviously Satan's not haunting the home, but there probably is a demonic attachment to the home. A lot of negativity is there. Murder occurred there. The belief of sexual abuse happened there. There are people that believe that a demonic entity may have even possessed Lizzie Borden into murdering. her parents. So if you
And
think about it, that it's a
that
possibility.
that may be true, because yes, there's a lot of stuff, and I I guarantee you there's evil in that house.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
You know,
The next
with I
episode that
mean,
we do
just
is
with
going to be the Axe
everything.
Murder House, which I got to get some information on. But yeah, I believe any place where a significant amount of violence occurs is usually followed by or created or caused by that negative entity.
Right.
Personally,
And I
um,
mean, like I said, there was so much going on and stuff. How I look at it is, with all that pain and all that stuff, it's not necessarily, because people were murdered there. I mean, that might play a part, that plays a part into it, but I think it's with just the bad, what I'm saying. Like, we don't
hmm
know if an ET came after
and
she did what she
created
did,
or was
or when
there
she
prior
snapped.
to.
It could be that thing was after a certain point of all this abuse and negativity and just
Oh, most
horrible
definitely,
things.
and it may
You
have
know,
influenced her actions.
it may have. You know,
Now, the reason I say guilty or innocent is because people to this day still believe that she's innocent. That there's another theory that the housekeeper killed her family, but they ruled her out. Then there was a guy, I can't remember what his name is right now, and I'm sure it'll come back to me, but he was supposedly around the home at the time of the murders, and he believed, huh?
he was the one in the backyard, right?
Yeah, he was the one that was said to have broken into the home and killed the Bordens. The problem is because there's only theories, and really, again, forensic science was non-existent back then, and it was believed that a woman could not possibly be capable of that level of violence. It was unspeakable for them to think that a
Right,
woman of her stature and her size it was even capable of that level of violence. So it was already a mentality that there's no way she did it. You couldn't possibly. But this woman was found. Now here's what's interesting. After the murder, she was wearing a dress that had bloodstains on it. Okay, but after they did the investigation, they never took the dress from her. She actually took that dress and burned it in her stove, and was seen burning her dress because of it. But when she was questioned about it, she said that it was a stain of food or something like that, and it wasn't blood. So they left it at that. They never even tried to gain any further forensics.
right. It's
So,
basically
yeah,
everybody had a specific. Women don't
exactly.
do these things.
Exactly. That was the mentality. It
So
was impossible.
if she says it's some kind of, we're gonna listen before we, just because in that time women weren't violent. That
Right. Well, and even if they were, it was just incredulous for anybody to even think about it.
that's
Nobody
what I'm
wanted to think a
saying.
woman of fair gender was capable of something like that.
What I'm saying, people go, oh, it couldn't be a woman. Women don't,
Hmm
men are the violent people.
hmm
Women are not. But you know me, and you know the things I watch.
Oh yeah,
Okay, when I watch Deadly Women,
I watched that as
and
well.
I'm telling you, there are women out there that have
That would do
way
way
more
worse than that.
violence than you see men. Like, some of these women are, you like, are you fucking kidding me?
You
Like,
right? Oh, I know, right?
you know. So now we
Definitely
know that
back in my
women
hoodie today. Cold.
are capable of great violence, sometimes
Oh, most
surpassing
definitely.
men.
Oh yeah.
Back then, you didn't think about it, because women were so innocent and petite, and all that other stuff that everybody kept saying about women. And that's how a lot of women got away with stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Murdering people and all this kind of crazy stuff. They got away with it because she's a female. She wouldn't do something violent like that.
I'm actually going to show you guys some of the crime scene photos that were taken. These are actual crime scene photos. So the senior Borden's head is actually blurred. So you can't see the actual damage in the picture, but they do. I also have the pictures of the skulls of the
No,
Bordens
yeah,
as
'cause
well.
that was too violent, too nasty for them to
Most
at that
definitely.
point in time. Yeah.
Yep. So here we go. I'm going to show you. Here we go. This is Miss Borden's body. This is how she was found. There's the bed. She was supposedly folding laundry at the time that she was murdered. And you can see the room isn't very big. And the
Mm-hmm.
stairs are, here's the door to her room right there.
Uh-huh.
So whoever came in had to have known her because this is where she died. And this is how far that person would have had to have come around to kill her. That's pretty
Yeah,
long
and she
distance.
would have.
She would have
Yeah, and I
ran.
think a person that didn't know somebody wouldn't have just been like, "Oh yeah, come into my room." She'd been trying to get the hell out of the room.
Exactly. There would be a much more significant distance between her and any of this area. If she had felt threatened, she would have ran. But she didn't run. She's still in the exact same spot. You can actually kind of very vaguely see what looks like a pile of laundry right here. So she was in the middle of folding laundry the time that she was killed, or making the bed the time that she was killed.
Right.
This here is said to be the axe or hatchet that was used in the murder. This is just the head of it, obviously. But you can still see what looks to be blood stains in certain sections of the blade. It's black and
Right.
white, so you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. But if you look, you can actually see what looks like splatter patterns all
Right.
over the blade. So that's pretty. That's a pretty heavy. And back then, we're talking iron, cast iron, most likely.
Oh yeah.
And this is a current picture of, as you can see, there's an electrical box here. But down in this basement area, this is all still stuff from the house. The only thing that's new is this, and the ductwork.
Right.
Um, there was said to be a bucket of blood down here in this basement area. Now, Lizzie Borden had explained that bucket of blood as her time of the month. Okay, so that was supposedly from her cleaning herself up from her time of the month. But they can't prove that one
Bucket's
way or another.
worth?
Huh?
I said a bucket's worth?
I guess so. That's what she claimed. Here is the
Well,
stove,
I
which she
see.
is said to have found.
I've never heard that one. But for anybody to believe that a woman can bleed a bucket worth of blood is
I mean,
insane.
science wasn't what it is now.
I know they think that because back then they thought we were crazy entities or witches, or whatever, because we bled and didn't
Right.
die.
Right.
But that
Exactly.
was
Okay.
back
So
then, so I guess
we're
I could
talking a mentality
understand.
way back when. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I could
So here,
understand. Like I said, they thought
here's the
at the
stove.
beginning, yeah, we were witches or something because we bled and didn't die. You know, which is like. But I guess if you're looking at those mentalities, somebody saying a bucket of
Yeah.
blood, I get it. I
Um,
personally
it's
be like,
crazy, but yeah. Now we don't know if it was a pure bucket of blood though, or if it was a bucket of bloody water too.
that's true.
You
That's true.
clean up a mess, you rinse out the rags, you end up with blood in the bucket, and less on whatever
Yeah,
you're cleaning with.
blood. Yeah, because the water
This here
turns.
is the stove where she's said to have burned her dress. So I mean, we're talking it's in the house. We're not talking she was outside. So you got to figure whoever noticed her burning it had to have been either within the house or right outside of a window. Because this is obviously a wood burning stove. You can see where
Right,
You
right.
pull it down to do that.
Yeah.
This is Lizzie Borden. This was her the day that she was arrested. This was her when she was on trial. So again, she's not a small woman. She's not a big woman, but she's not exactly small either. She was more than capable
Yeah.
of wielding a weapon of that stature
Oh, yeah.
and
Definitely.
bludgeoning her parents. You know, if you look at her, she may look timid, but look at her face, look at her eyes. There's nothing there. She's empty. It's almost as though you're looking into a black pit in this picture alone.
Indigo and Skinwalker, like crazy eyes.
This is an actual drawing from the newspaper released during the time of the trial. This here is it's a clipping. This is how it was depicted. This is supposed to be Mr. Borden's skull as it's being presented to the jury of 12 men, because back then women were not on juries.
Right.
Were not in proceedings. They were heard not or seen not heard situations. Okay.
Right. Right.
Um,
Taking care of the home,
literally
having
all
babies.
men, huh?
I said taking care of the home and having babies.
Pretty much, yes. So this depicts at that time the trial when they brought evidence of the skull in to the jurors of the court. This is the actual picture of Mr. Borden's skull. You can see here the fracturing, and alongside here, obviously, this is all
Right. The
damage that was
chunks of
done
skull that's
by.
gone.
This whole side of his face was completely obliterated.
Yeah, it was complete. Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty gruesome. And again, he was hit 10 times with it. Mrs. Borden was actually hit 19 times, twice as severe as her father. Now, some would suggest that meant that there was more anger towards Mrs. Borden than Mr. Borden. And I'm wondering if it's because of, if there was sexual abuse, like you said, she knew about it and did nothing to protect her.
Right. Back then, you're especially for moms, they were supposed to
protect their children.
protect the children. You know, that's what the mom was for.
Yep.
Back then, you know.
Well,
It's not now.
even today, I would understand a child or a daughter killing a parent that is willfully allowing the abuse to continue.
That's true today, but also, whatchamacallit, men are more involved with their kids today, so
Than they used to be.
you know, there's sometimes that equal, you know, if
This
a father knows, you know, that something bad's happening, you know, a kid could just be as mad because her father is supposed to protect her. You see what I'm saying? So
oh yeah,
nowadays that it's, but back then it was the mother. The mother took care of the kids. The mother. Anything that had to do with the kids was the mom.
yep. This is Mrs. Borden's skull. As you can see, the entire left hemisphere of the cranium is completely and utterly obliterated. There's nothing left. She was smashed in just as badly. But again, she was 19 strikes to the head as opposed to Mr. Borden's 10. So again, this shows, in my opinion, and I am no forensic scientist or anything, but to me, this would express a more severe level of anger was aimed at Mrs. Borden than Mr. Borden. You can see there's just nothing left. The entire left side of her head was crushed.
She get out on that one.
Yeah. Okay, so here is during her testimony, where she had actually fainted during the trial when they brought the skulls out as their evidence. So again, this is another court depiction. This is back when they used to draw, and I think they still do, just not quite to the extent that they used to. because TV didn't exist back then. So this was their TV. This was how they recorded it.
Right.
And you can see in the background the I want to say audience of sorts, and then you can
Right. Right.
see
Right.
uh, Lizzie Borden having been removed after fainting uh, during the
Right.
the
Right.
trial. These are the actual 12 men of the juror. So, as you can see, they are all older, late-aged men. I don't think there's
Right.
one single middle-aged man amongst them. So
Yeah,
obviously,
they
these
were
are all elders of their
the
community.
older side, so they believed even more that
Hmm.
women weren't capable
Capable
of
of that
this.
level of violence. Hmm. So you can see it's kind of a biased situation. If you look real close, we're literally looking at, again, like you said, and like I said, 12 elderly aged, late aged men who had the mentality that there's just no way. It was impossible
And
for a woman to do this.
honestly, I think that's also what helped her. Unfortunately,
That plus a lot of her own stuff was tossed out because for days after she was being fed morphine.
I
she
can't
was
hear him. You have to speak up.
So when police were questioning her, a lot of this information she provided police right after the incident was tossed out because they had brought in a physician to help calm her down, and so they had her on morphine for like the first week. So any information she provided during that time while she was under the influence of morphine, they tossed out.
Yep,
Couldn't use it.
yep, that's also very true. This here is when she was announced not guilty by the jury. She had actually laid her head on the rail of the courthouse and sobbed. So she definitely displayed quite a dramatic uh, act uh, to the court, which most likely, in the end, catered to her innocence verdict.
right. But
The
like I said,
mentality of,
when you think about it and people looking at women as not capable, the crying, she could even
mhm.
fake she could have even faked the fainting.
Oh yeah,
You know,
oh yeah,
but of course, men thinking that women are so delicate, it plays with their mind. Oh my gosh, she fainted because just this horrid stuff looking is,
hmm,
too much for her. And she could have just been like, yep, I
yep,
killed them to her head, and been like, oh, well, I put on an act because it'll help me.
oh yeah. And this here is the Borden house. Obviously, since we're talking about Lizzie Borden, this is the home, and the maid was said to have been cleaning the windows by the kitchen when uh, Lizzie Borden found her parents dead. So, just so you can get a kind of a perspective, if she's out here, there's no way she could have been in here killing the parents at that time. Couldn't happen. Wasn't possible.
But I have a question about that. Okay,
Hmm.
when things like that happen, people scream, especially when they're still alive.
Hmm.
You know, how does
Well,
she
the
not
father
hear
was
it?
said to have killed while he was napping, and the
Okay,
mother was said to have
one
been knocked
blow,
unconscious instantly.
one blow. I mean,
I mean, if she
I
hit hard enough,
understand like maybe the mom being knocked out in one blow, but I don't know. I just
I
wonder
mean,
about
we're
that. I
talking
wonder
about a
why.
weapon. We're talking about a weapon that has a blunt edge on one side, that is at the time cast iron, and a sharp blade on the other. With enough force, you can most certainly crack someone's skull and kill them instantly. In fact, the report states that the first blow to each victim was the fatal blow. The rest was just overkill.
I can see that, but I have also seen people survive that, like back with that kind of stuff. So for me, it does pose some questions because, I mean, the forensic back then wasn't very good,
No, it wasn't.
but I've seen
But we're also
people get
talking
hit.
about like they were killed at different times. The mother was killed first and was upstairs. The father didn't know that the mother was dead because he never went upstairs. He went straight to the couch and fell asleep.
Yeah, I guess if he didn't hear the mom inside the house.
He wasn't home when she was killed.
Oh, okay.
Like when she was killed, she was upstairs folding laundry and he was at work. When he returned from work is when he was killed.
I didn't
she
know
was
that.
already dead by the time he
I
came
thought
home.
maybe he'd been sleeping.
So the way that they were killed, literally, they never even came in contact with each other, let alone hurt each other. And like I said, the maid was supposedly outside washing the windows. There's no way that the housemaid, would have been able to lower the ladder, jump off the ladder, whatever, go inside, kill the people, come back outside, go back to cleaning the windows. And then for Lizzie Borden to come in and start screaming because she finds her parents dead.
Yeah, and no blood, yeah.
So, definitely a little on the suspicious side.
It is, but a lot of that is.
So, okay, so those were the photos I wanted to go ahead and show real quick while I had the ability to do so. But I'm missing one, and I know I'm missing one. Hold on. Aha, this one. I'm going to go back to that real quick so that I can show. This was how he was found. So you can see that he was found on the couch. She was found in the room. See, this is the crime scene here where Mr. Borden was found. This is downstairs in the living area, and he was taking a nap. You can see he's in a relaxed state.
Yeah.
And his face brushed, so immediately he was already sleeping, so he didn't see it coming. He didn't know that she was dead. So the first blow that he took killed him instantly. Nobody would have heard a thing.
That's true.
Alright, so I just wanted to share that real quick. So yeah, the chances of a woman at that time being creative enough to get away with murder wasn't exactly difficult.
Oh, no.
So I see Wendigo and Skinwalker are kind of like, now you've got your history lesson. What do you guys think?
I mean, I still have a few questions.
Go ahead.
I mean, I still have a few.
Auntie, are you muted? Okay, try again.
Okay, you good? Okay. I mean, I still have a few questions on, like, some of it. Because, like, some things, there's, like, the whole that my mom had a fair point on was the whole faking the fainting thing. Because, I mean, I know during those times that was a major thing that women couldn't do those. Supposedly couldn't have done those things. But I've seen way too many crazy chicks to know that is far from the truth.
Unfortunately, back then, the mentality was as simply put, women weren't capable of it. Women didn't work, women didn't drive, women didn't vote. Women were incapable of homicide, especially one as brutal as Borden's homicides.
Yeah. See, my
It was a totally different mentality then.
See, my one question is, did nobody? Because if the Yeah, I
Was the
understand
mom-
nobody hearing like the dad dying because he was on the couch, but like the mom was on the floor. So if she instantly died, wouldn't have there been a thud on her hitting the floor?
There would have been, but if Lizzie Borden was the only one in the house, who's going to report it?
Fair point.
If a tree falls in the wood, it's just making noise.
You got to remember, the maid was outside cleaning the windows. She wouldn't have heard a thing.
That's true.
With those, when I saw the skulls, I was thinking, damn.
That had to be. Yeah, I'm sorry. What was the other theory that?
The other theory was that a man, I can't remember his name, and I'll have to look it up at some point, had come through the backyard, broken into the home, and then killed the Bordens, and then left.
Was there anyone?
Wait. Was it the maid in the back washing the windows?
Yeah.
So would she have seen somebody, or was she in the front?
Exactly.
And at the same,
She did see. She was the one that said that she spotted the guy in the backyard. The problem is, she also told the police that Lizzie Borden was completely void of all emotion when she found her parents and reported them dead. Her behavior was suspicious. The way that she behaved when she was being interviewed was suspicious. She had blood on her clothes. The guy that they said they saw in the backyard, there was nothing to really indicate that he had anything to do with it.
Yeah,
he just happened to be there.
Yeah, but if he was the murderer, wouldn't her mother fall if she was the first one dead?
Exactly, which is also why it ruled out an external source.
I don't know, but look at how big out the house is.
That is true. It is a pretty big
If
house.
she's downstairs in the say the entryway, upstairs in the back bedroom, you're really gonna hear the thud.
Not really.
True. That could. True. Man, this is making me think.
But she's on the floor in the first place. Where did they find them all? On the floor?
Yeah, on the floor next to the bed.
She was supposedly supposed to be.
She was face down on the floor.
Face down on the floor.
I'm assuming next to the bed.
Yeah.
Yes, next to the bed.
Yes, in the door.
Between the bed and the dresser.
Okay, so if you hit somebody and they fall onto the bed, they slide off. Do they really make a thud?
Yes.
But there was no blood on the
There was no
bed.
blood on the bed.
It was on the
There
floor.
was no blood on
It was on the floor.
So it had to be someone.
Somebody had to walk in there, literally.
And
So-
she must have known the person, because if it was some weird person, she wouldn't have let them in.
So
I would have been jumping across the
You opened
bed.
The door.
yeah, a lot of times back then, people kept their doors open.
No, her bedroom door.
Oh.
But I'm saying, she said if it was somebody, he said if it was somebody else, she would that she wouldn't have known.
I would have just
Because
like
they-
jumped across the bed or something if somebody else
They
was.
opened the door.
Somebody I didn't know was coming into my room.
Maybe she had her Beats pods in and she didn't hear.
Beats pods.
Bruh, you're not
I'm
funny.
not tiny.
You're not funny.
I'm here laughing, so it must have been funny.
Not funny.
Yeah, I'm a little. She sounds a little guilty to me.
I have to say that she would be guilty, and if I was on a jury back then, I would have voted guilty.
I would've-
Same here, because like none of the evidence that's saying for her innocence makes sense.
Oh, she had no.
The only thing that gave her any kind
She
of
had blood on her
innocence
dress.
She burnt it.
in-
She tried
back then
burning it. Burning evidence so nobody would know.
Yeah, that kind of sounds guilty to me. Burning the evidence.
Because I'm sorry, did she like try to like I don't know what she would have done. Her mother's fucking head was bashed in. So like would you have like tried to what would you have done besides call 911 in that situation? It's not like you're gonna try helping them. Their head's bashed in.
Okay, what's your instantaneous reaction?
Oh, I would be sitting there freaking out, but I'm not gonna touch them unless there's something I can do.
And now you know if there's something.
I'm sorry, if your face is bashed in, nothing to do there.
Yeah, he's got a point. I mean, everything under the skull is destroyed.
Yeah, so
It's
what am I
obliterated.
gonna do?
You're
Mouth
saved
to mouth
in a state of state
resuscitation?
for the rest of your life.
Right, but you're at least gonna grab to see if they're breathing, right? I would.
Your face is bashed in. I would pretty much know if you're trying to breathe by all the blood like moving on your face.
But
Yeah.
but the mom,
Plus, I was
Like
also
really
saying
bad
in
gurgling.
CPR first aid, you're also supposed to look at the chest. Because the
Okay.
chest rises.
okay, but they didn't have CPR training like back then. CPR wasn't a thing.
Okay, then so would everybody have tried to done anything? Besides call 911?
Well, who's to say that?
I don't think that I would have disturbed
Mother,
it full well knowing that they
probably
attacked
mom went,
it.
oh fuck, ran over, flipped her over. She's found face down, right?
Then why would she still be face down?
Oh shit. Drop.
The body flips
Oh
over,
shit, drop!
and the body just magically flips back over.
Yeah, he has a you have to lift up the body,
Right.
which now it's dead weight, so it's even heavier.
And she wasn't a large lone woman. She was fairly petite.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm playing devil.
And she would have been covered in blood. She would have been head to toe covered in blood. There was barely any blood on the dress. There was only a few spots.
Exactly, and with a murder of that.
if you were trying to help them, you would have more blood on your clothes than that.
Now, if you're smashing their fucking skulls in,
That's a whole different story. You're the
Totally.
one. Bah!
Yeah, you would be covered in it.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not
That-
See, now
Yeah.
here's something I left out. Here's something I left out. The reason they believed that she couldn't possibly be the one that killed them is because of there being only a few drops of blood on her clothes. However, there is a theory that she removed all of her clothes in order to commit the act of crime. Showered and put the dress back on.
That's true. Her own clothes is in that house. She could have changed at any given time
and hid the clothes away.
and hid the clothes away.
Burning
Something.
How about this one?
She burned it.
Here's a theory for you. If he was supposedly as bad of a guy, who's to say he wasn't doing the same thing to the maid?
What?
Right?
It was the daughter.
But who's to say if a guy's gonna abuse at least one, if not more?
Yeah, why wouldn't he have not gone for the maid?
Okay, so who said he had? Who said that the maid hadn't fallen in love with somebody, and he found out, and he was going to take retribution on the husband and the wife because the wife was allowing that shit, and the husband was the perpetrator? You think the maid's going to give a real good description of the guy that ran out the back of the house? Right, from answer on that one.
Okay, but I'm confused. Why would he have benefited from killing both of them? The girl at least benefit owning all her parents'
I think
stuff.
I'm getting way off subject now.
Not necessarily.
Heated debate. I love it.
What do you mean, not necessarily?
Okay,
What would a random guy have? Was anything stolen from the house?
Wow, whatever.
Okay.
What I'm
what
saying
he's saying is, what happens if the father raped the maid or whatever or whatever?
the guy was actually the maid's like lovers.
Very true.
Would she have given a clear description?
That's true.
Wouldn't the guy have motive for killing the woman as well? The wife as well? Allowing this to happen.
Very true.
In which case, Lizzie may not have even been the one to do it. Which would explain why Lizzie has very little blood. Maid has no blood and a really bad recollection of the man that came in and out of the house. You can't ignore the guy coming in and out of the house.
But was it proven? He was in the backyard.
Oh, of course. Oh, there's a guy there, but he never went in the house, according to the maid.
Okay, but that could be, and I'll tell Kelly that could just be. Yes, you could be right. He could have been the one who did it, but at the same time, again, the mother is still on her side of the bed. If a random person would have gotten in your house, what would you have done? I would have leaped over the bed or tried running around the person to get out the door. Or scream that there's a stranger in my house.
But if I rushed in, I think it was time.
Kinda, because wouldn't he have had to like stomp to like if he was rushing in? The floors were made of wood. That was pretty loud of a sound. Try to rush into a door. Plus, are you gonna really think the guy's gonna be worried about making sure the door opens quietly and closes quietly?
How do we know it was closed at the time of the murder? We know it was closed afterwards. It could have been open.
Yes, but if somebody was rushing in, do you think they would have just gently opened the door? No, if you're trying to rush in to kill somebody, wouldn't you have just slammed open the door?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how can we prove that this door was closed at the time of the murder?
Okay, but again,
What eyewitnesses do we have to state that the door was closed?
we
There
don't.
at a point in time when everybody left their door open unless they were literally in bed sleeping, not like today's day and age where everybody keeps their damn doors shut to keep everybody out. How can we prove that?
Okay, but again, if you see a random guy rushing in your room, what are you doing?
Pulling out a pistol, shooting him in the face.
Okay, but if she's
You're
doing
running.
For those women back then, it would be scream.
it was
Yeah, so wouldn't people have heard?
now if her back's towards the door and she's bent over doing laundry in between the bed and the dresser, would she really have had time to see, turn around, and scream?
She could have been turned around and the guy could have stuck
Because
in.
you got to remember, the blows were to the right side of her head. Imagine
Left.
if I remember no, it was on the right. Look at
I think the
Maria
guy's
said-
was on the left.
no, Maria,
Maria.
said left, but you look at the
Where was
Yeah.
the bashing portions of the mother?
The skull injuries on the mother was the left side of her head at the top all the way to her cheekbone.
So she had to be crouching down.
Then she
Now,
had to
what
be-
picture did you show? Because the picture you showed, the injuries were on the right.
No. That was on Mr. Borden.
The guy.
Okay.
So
That's
then,
okay.
if it was towards the face, she would have had a scene. If somebody's trying to sneak up behind you, they would have bashed the bed, not the front.
Okay. Well, she's at the bed like this, and between the bed and the dresser, bent over.
No, because they would have to come around this
They
way.
would have had to come around the bed.
So she would have had to
The door was closest to the door was closest to the side of the bed.
Now, I'm just playing devil advocate. I like to play devil. Lizzie wasn't guilty. It was the one-armed man, I tell you. It was
But-
fault of the maid.
But I do see
and
your
getting
point.
revenge for the abuse of his fiance.
I do see your point on that too, because if there was sexual assault and stuff going on in this house, who would have said that would have been happening to the maid? So I do see your point. It could have been an outside source,
Aha! I won one more.
but not necessarily. Not enough evidence stack up to essentially for this guy.
There's not enough evidence either way.
There isn't.
So with the level of intelligence minus the level of forensic nowadays, in all reality, it would have turned out into a hung jury. Roughly half your jury, male and female, would have said, yeah, she did it. Half of it would go, no, she didn't. Did she do it?
See, personally, I think she did it
I think she did.
because it would make more sense. Because if the lady is doing stuff, it's her mom. But she can walk in and out of the house.
She could have quit at any time.
Now, here's the other thing to think of. All right, all this time, everybody's going, it's Lizzie. Anybody ever confirm that the sister was where she said she was going to be?
She wasn't even home. She was in college.
Ooh, alibi. And that shows up in college records.
Or university or whatever they called it back then.
All right, well, on that note, I've thrown in my devil's advocate.
Well,
I gotta go.
like I said, I think it was Lizzie. I think she murdered.
Okay, so the whole point of
one-armed man, damn it.
the whole point of this start out is now that we've done the talk about the crime, we're going to go ahead into the hauntings of the house. Now, there are EVPs that are said to have recordings of Lizzie Borden confessing that she killed both Mr. and Mrs. Borden. One of the shows in which would be the Ghost Adventure show, where the EVP is captured saying that she did it. There's another group. I was actually just looking up to try and find it, but it was COTT, Capture of the Paranormal, TP, yeah, where she's also caught confessing that she murdered the Bordens, as well as there being a sinister laugh from Mr. Borden, caught on EVP. They have brought Ouija boards into the Borden home.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Which, in my opinion, is as good as opening a portal to hell yourself. So, I think that whatever is now haunting there is darker than just the Bordens. I think that whatever may have been haunting there prior to was already dark, but now we've got people that have gone in with Ouija boards. We've got people that have gone in with other forms of communication, looking for communication. And I think if you go looking for the evil, you're going to find it. You're inviting it at this point. So that is my belief. I believe that the house is haunted. I believe that it is haunted by negative entities. I believe that the entities are demonic in nature. And the reason I believe so is because there is such a dark past. Because, believe it or not, the Bordens are not the only people in that area to have died. And this is going to where I bring in the next thing, because what I'm talking about today is going to carry over, is the Villisca Axe Murder House, which was said to be related to the Bordens. Now, the Villisca Axe Murder House was a home where a man was said to have hid in the attic, and while the children, 4 children, slept, or 6 children, excuse me, 6 children slept, and 2 adults. They came back from church. The family had 4 kids from the next door neighbors over for the night. The man snuck out of the attic and then proceeded to kill all 6 children, including the man and woman of the home. So a total of 8 people were killed that night. That's why it's called the Villisca Axe Murder House. Now, the Villisca Axe Murderer is said to still haunt that house. So that's why we started with Borden, because the Villisca Axe Murder House wasn't just known for the murders of those children. The Villisca Axe Murder House actually was there prior to and in relation to the Bordens, where a mother had taken her children prior to the Villisca murders and the Borden murders, and had drowned her children, or no, slit her children's throat and then her own.
Right.
So this area, these homes, have an extremely violent background, and they are all related. I'm going to go ahead and unmute Drusilla, so you guys are going to have to mute yourselves a sec, so we don't have that echo. Yep.
It's dead. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of death and a lot of bad stuff that's all connected,
intertwined.
Right. And who's to say, when they say that, you said that could have been a demonic spirit could have taken over. Well, if you have this one and then you have that one, there's already bad there.
There's 3 murders that are connected.
Right.
3. The Villisca Axe murder, the Lizzie Borden murder, and the murder of the woman who murdered her 2 kids and herself. So that's 3 murders.
But those 2, the mom and then the Villisca, were done before Lizzie.
Yes.
So who's to say that darkness that surrounded those didn't come back on, especially if they're related?
Now, the funny thing is, the Villisca Axe Murder House is a separate house, but it's in the same area.
Yes, but from what I know is that portals aren't necessarily opened in houses.
in just one home. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can have a portal to demonic ghosts
Connect.
in a general location outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what I'm saying is because those two murders were just horrifying, what says that it didn't open a portal within that area, and then Lizzie,
Spread that evil.
right.
Right. Exactly.
And
Because if you look at it, all three of these murders are not just your average, someone walked in, shot somebody, walked out. These are gruesome, gruesome murders.
right,
They are all related to either an axe, hatchet, or knife. Think about it. The Velisca Axe Murder House, 8 people killed with a hatchet. The Bordens, 2 people killed with an axe. The children whose mother killed them was killed with a knife. So a little different there, but I mean they're extremely violent
right,
crimes, extremely violent.
right,
So you have to think that there has to be a very, very, very dark demonic entity that had control over these murders.
right. And if I'm sure if you go further back, there was things that happened around that area, and that way back further, it could have brought that entity, and so then that
Mm-hmm.
entity affected all of them. Because
Mm-hmm.
you have portals that are open because people do this and people do that, but in American history, we have so much death and destruction from wars or whatever, that we don't know what portals are open, what portals are not open, what's coming out of this portal or what's coming out of this one.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
there could
true.
have been bad things that happened within that town that opened a portal
Mm-hmm.
before they got there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, there could have been something as far back as some kind of ancient battle that took place, and it was built over sacred grounds as time went on and desecrated graves. Who knows? But there's obviously a great deal of darkness shrouding these mysterious murders. They never caught the guy that was said to have murdered the people in the Velisca home. The mother obviously killed herself after killing her children, so there you go. And Lizzie Borden. These are people that all seem to have been shrouded in some kind of darkness and possessed by some kind of evil entity that caused some of the most horrific and stunning acts of violence. People may say to you, "Oh, well, ghosts can't hurt you." Well, sure, if you have that mentality, great for you. You'll be the next one that has to deal with some kind of crazy shit. Because I tell you what, they may not be able to physically hurt you, but that does not mean that they can't take over you and destroy you, because
That's
they can.
that's true.
Look at the Exorcist house. It's based off of a very true story of a boy. I know everybody goes, "Oh, we're gonna associate this with this girl," but it was not a girl that the entity was attached to. Everything in the movie is fairly close to accurate, except for the location of the home was not in Europe. The location, or the gender of the child, was actually a little boy, not a girl, and the priest was the one that was killed, not the friend of the family. So they obviously had to change some things to movie write it, but all in all, the disfigurement of the child during possession, as well as the levitation of the bed and all of the crazy things that were said to have happened after this child was playing with a Ouija board. So the belief that the Ouija board was the cause of the possession in that home may also be what causes a majority of demonic possessions in other homes. People don't understand the danger that comes with messing around with a Ouija board. You are opening not just yourself to the spiritual realm, but you are opening the spiritual and demonic realm to yourself.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to close that door once you've opened it, don't do it.
Yeah. You won't catch me with one. Mm-mm.
Nope. I won't even allow it in my house.
Oh no, no, it ain't. I mean, no, 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 no.
I'm good.
You know.
You know.
And the funny is that when I watched, because like I said, I watched the Lizzie Borden one on the Dead Files. Somebody had a Ouija board in there because I don't know if you saw that episode, but
Well, it's funny because when they did that, okay, Ghost Adventures also brought a Ouija board in. And when they did it with the Ouija board, a lot of negative things started happening where they actually had to stop the investigation in the middle of the investigation because Zach was becoming um, enraged and violently triggered.
But what I'm talking about with hers is that she was like, "I need you to move this couch," and it was a couch that the dad died on.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
and like Amy was so focused on getting that moved, and then when they did move it, they found there was a Ouija board under it.
Mhm. Yeah, didn't the current owner try using it to
Well, her and
contact?
her son.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember seeing that one. I think I saw that one.
and it's like I don't understand why everybody decides, okay, this place is haunted. Let me go see if I can talk to some dead people. Like that's the only thing that's going to happen to them.
Oh, I know. I know.
I'm sorry, but the Ouija board is a very powerful object.
Mhm.
Okay?
I
You
agree.
can't be stupid enough to think that it's only gonna bring a ghost to talk to you. Okay?
Oh, I know.
Because through the past, it has been proven to be a very powerful object.
Conduit. Mhm.
So there's not only ghosts that you can talk to, but there are demons that you can talk to. Horrible entities, whatever you call them or whatever you look at, but it's like an opening, and people go, "Oh, well, we're just gonna play with it." You don't play with something that you don't understand the power of.
Yeah, I believe that is incredibly foolish. I have to agree that I feel that is incredibly foolish. Uh, we're gonna do a quick announcement as well, and I'm going to announce this because we have special guests coming tomorrow. 7 o'clock, we will be doing an interview. So I hope you guys are ready for that. The people that are going to be joining us, the gentleman who reached out to me, his name is Chris Reese, and they are from Talk Haunted to Me. I'm going to show a quick clip of their show. They will be talking with us tomorrow. So brace yourselves. They're pretty cool. I've watched quite a bit of their startup, and I think they just might go big. Bring you down here a second. Kind of helps if I do the share screen, doesn't it? Okay. So I'm going to do this little preview here. This is going to be Talk Haunted to Me. And I'm going to go with this here. And I'm just going to do a little quick clip for you. These are the gentlemen that will be joining us tomorrow evening. 7 o'clock my time. That's 5 o'clock your time, I believe. Don't know that you can hear them very well.
Not really.
Not really. Okay, we're gonna have to switch over. Their microphones aren't working very well on this one. Let's try. Let's try here.
Aren't you plugged in? Do you need Discord?
Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Try that again. That's better.
Hello and welcome to Talk Haunted to Me. Today's episode is Haunted Towns in Florida as a part of our Haunted Towns of America series. So episode 2, here we go. Skinner, tell us about the drink.
So we're making a rum runner. Hopefully I get this right making it today. I'll be playing the role of Tom Cruise. And fucked up. I just went nothing right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would I prefer to sit across from Tom Cruise? Perhaps.
Yeah, but he used to be under the table.
You might jump over the table.
Might jump
You
on
break
the
a
table.
leg while doing it.
Say he's in love with you.
I've been looking.
Okay. Anyway, these 3 gentlemen, and I'll watch more of them as we go. They are going to be joining us. They basically talk about the haunted places they research while drinking and creating a cocktail.
I saw the
Great.
Georgia one.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I watched.
So I think they're going to be a blast. We are also going to be cooperating on their end. They are going to interview us at a later date. So we're going to appear on their show. They're going to appear on ours. So this is how us podcasters work together to boost each other. So I hope you guys are
Sounds
excited
good
for
to
it. I
me.
know I am.
Yeah.
So, hey, you got to reach out when you got to reach out, right?
Right.
The only way to get out there is to do it. You know, they're going to boost us. We're going to boost them. I'm going to prepare a clip for them to air to show ours. I'm going to do the clip of, Caleb's interview and send it to them for them to use as their advertisement piece for us. So, I think it's going to be great. I think we're going to
That's
have
a good
fun.
one.
And I think doing cooperation is something that I'm trying to get more people to do. There's another one that wants to do one with me. I'm waiting for him to pick some dates. So,
Look at us go.
yeah, pretty much. But stick around. I'm going to end the stream, though. Thank you for watching, ladies of the paranormal world. You have been speaking with Dark Angel, Drusilla, Wendigo, and Skinwalker. Peace out. We'll talk to you tomorrow.